Okay, let's get into it. Happy Monday, everyone. Hope everyone had a good weekend, was able to, reset. And let's start this month off on the right note, right? Whatever happened last month in November has nothing to do with today. Whether it's a good month or a bad month, has nothing to do with this month. So let's start this month off with a very clean slate. Um, Also, thank you so much for, the love and support on this last educational video I posted. I highly recommend going to check it out, how to pick option contracts. I will leave the link to that one in the description. You guys seem to really love that one. Getting a lot of positive feedback, so I really appreciate that. So let's get into it. Let's start off with the market. So we ended up gapping down here on the overall markets, buying the Qs. And as you know, for me, I see that as a great opportunity. So key level here is 679.85. Let's go to the daily. 679.85. Beautiful. So, if you can get a break and retest above this, remember, this is the retest. This is the retest. Remember, I broke this down. We ended up getting our daily candle close finally above this and displacement. So we need a retest on the daily. So you would just be looking for a pullback long. Well, in this case, a break and retest over 679.85. That's a great opportunity to really catch this trade. You can see we're starting to step up here in the pre-market. This is a really good opportunity. You can see, right, key level being respected here and respected here during the intraday and then here during the pre-market. So break and retest over 679.85 is a solid setup. Qs, same thing. Great opportunity here to get in, on the dip buy. We're still looking at this 617.20. So, if we can get in there, that'd be nice. We know we've been eyeing, the 612.80. You can pretty much see that we kind of already got the retest during the pre-market. I've taught you that. It's really nothing we can do about that. But hey, if this thing wants to pull back and give us an opportunity off of 612.80, that is beautiful. But you can see our kilo got respected here during the pre-market. And then you would just be looking for a break and retest over 617.20. So we know we're long on this market. We're long bias. We're bullish bias. You're just looking for break and retest and pullback longs. But if for me personally, if SPY can get over the 679.85, I will keep an eye on it. I really will. I think this is a good shot. IWM, you're bullish bias. We're bullish on the higher time frame. We are in a channel on the weekly, so just be cautious there. But like I said, your A plus long would be over this 248.55. So I'm not really looking at anything until we get over that on IWM. Tesla, really nothing going on. Like I said, we're pretty much dead smack in the middle of the range here. You can clearly see we're back in the middle of the range. So unfortunately, it saddens me, but I'm pretty much hands off on Tesla. Really, I am. I'll see what happens, when we get over this. But it's really nothing. Like we're just dead smack in the middle of the range now. So Tesla's just one you want to be cautious with. Let's go here. Right. It's not the cleanest price action. I mean, you can see here though. I'll give you a better visual. Right. We ended up trending lower, consolidated. Now we're trending higher. So I mean, you can see the V-shaped recovery occurring, but I don't really want to touch Tesla until we get over 450 and 466. So just be cautious there. I know I already broke that down. I'll see what happens if we can get over 429.45. But like I said, we're just dead smack in the middle of the range. So I'm hands off the video. So the video is respecting its key levels. It pulled back to this weekly level 173.15 during the pre-market. You can see buyer stepped up and we're pushing this thing higher. But we're under 184.50, so I'm hands off on this name. I'll go here on the daily, and you can see why. Right, we're just in a channel. We do got this bull flag setting up. I mean, one sec. We do got this bull flag setting up on the daily, and this is a beautiful dip out here and a bull flag break on the daily time frame over 184.50. So I'm just being patient for that. Other than that, like I've already said, we're just stuck in a channel on the daily. We're just moving sideways. We're bullish bias, so you can look for pullback long opportunities off these key levels. But for me personally, I'm just hands off. These are just low probability environments. Now, if we pull all the way back down to 168.75, that's another dip buy. Or, if we get a big breakout under that level, then we're bearish bias on that name. But until then, patient pays. We're dead smack in the middle of the range. We've been down this road before in the past where we ignored NVIDIA and we did not touch it because it was stuck in a channel. So we're just going to do that again and wait for the highest probability setup to come to us. Apple. So Apple, just shows you how strong Apple is because you can see here SPY and Qs gap down, during the after hours, and Apple didn't do a thing. Did not do a thing. You can see we ended up pulling back to our key level again. Buyer stepped up. So for me personally, just looking for a pullback long here off of 275.90 or a break and retest over 279, but I'm gonna need proper displacement there. And then I'll probably just target this all-time high. But like I said, I'm expecting sellers to step in up here because we're entering at the top of the range. So if I do take this trade, I'm treating it more so as a scalp. Treating it more so as a scalp. And it also depends on the displacement. If I don't get proper displacement above 279, I'm just gonna skip the trade. And then AMD. So AMD looks good. Let me go here to the let me go to the 30. Yeah, this is solid. Remember, we can get over 214.85. This is a big RR trade. There's nothing in its way to the upside. Nothing in its way to the upside. So The only thing I'm looking for today on AMD is a break and retest over 214.85. That's the only thing I'm looking for here. You can see um, on Friday we ended up getting it, not the best price action. So hopefully today we can get a break and retest above it. If we're under it, right, you can see we're under the previous day low. We are neutral bias on this name. I'm sorry, we're neutral on this name. As long as it's in between 225 and 203, I'm neutral. I'm not bullish or bearish bias. But if we do get a break over 214.85, that's the highest probability setup and the biggest RR trade because there's nothing in its way to 225. We can see if we can gravitate towards, this previous day high since we haven't swept this liquidity yet. So the way I'm looking at this is I think it's a good thing that we took out the previous day's low liquidity. It's no longer unmitigated. So if we can reclaim this 214.85 and we have unmitigated liquidity up here, hopefully price can just gravitate up here, move higher, especially with the overall market being bullish and we have that in our favor. So pretty much my game plan. But my close watch today is going to be AMD, it's going to be Apple, and going to be SPY, right? Nothing for me on Tesla and nothing for me on NVIDIA. So Apple, AMD, and SPY. Oh, and we also do have red folder news and orange folder news at 7 a.m. So, we'll see how things look the first 30 minutes at market open. If it doesn't look too well, I'm just going to wait for red folder news at market open to to pass, and then we'll go from there. Okay, got my close watch ready. So what I love here about SPY is the correlation here with the pre-market high. So, a break and retest over 279.85 is a good shot. Obviously, if we stay heavy, we're not looking to short this name. Just pull back long opportunities. So if today wants to be a day where SPY just stays heavy and pull back, I'm just going to sit on my hands. Uh, Apple, right, sitting in the channel. So really looking for a pullback long to 275 preferably, because I'd rather be in a trade at the bottom of the channel before we get to the top of the channel. So I'll be patient to wait for that. If today we just sit in a range, so be it. Last it was Friday. Yeah, this was I'm sorry. Here we finally had got the retest doing crappy price action, and then we got that push to the upside. So really just preferably pull back long off of 275.90, and then AMD. If AMD stays under 214.85, I'm pretty much just hands off. So very simple here today. For our close watch, we got Apple, we got SPY, and we got AMD. 5 seconds here to market opens. I like AMD over Apple just because Apple's at the top of the range. As we know, I don't trade that first 2 minute candle, so we're gonna be patient here anyway. This action's cleaner on SPY compared to AMD. I really do like SPY. Hmm. Pretty wiki volatile open, so we're just gonna stay patient. If I can start to spot some divergence on AMD and Qs, I do like AMD because Qs is pulling back pretty heavy. AMD is holding up. Yeah, Qs just went green to red on his first 2 minute candle. So Apple pretty much dead smack in the middle of the range here. Very volatile on Apple right now. Big wicks, big candles. Want to stay away from those. Really eyeing AMD and SPY here. I'm gonna need a lot more displacement though on AMD before I even look to go long here. SPY looks good. Q's pulled back and held at 612.80. A lot of resistance here on AMD at this key level. And if we can get this candle closure above this, it'd be solid. I would love this candle to rally a little bit more. Right now we're seeing Q's trying to reject the high day. Solid breakout here, honestly. Okay. It's a good breakout here on like this I like. Technically this was a good retest. If I can get one of these, I like it. I kind of see SPY rejecting this 679.85, and then that's kind of causing this on AMD a little bit. SPY looks good though in the 15-minute, and then you can clearly see here on the 2-minute we haven't had a single down close candle yet. If AMD wants to give us another shot on a pullback, sure. This is actually the same trade on Friday. We got the break and retest on Friday, just wasn't good price action. Thesis is correct on AMD. Yeah. You ended up getting an instant retest here, which was solid. I mean, just wanted a little bit more displacement. I'm looking at SPY too. I need this candle to close on SPY. Let's see if SPY can give us a pullback. Pretty heavy here. Yeah, very heavy. Yep. It's very patient. You hold your water. The one thing I like about AMD is AMD is holding up though. Clearly AMD's holding up. I could just get a deeper pullback. I like it. Nothing going on Apple. You can see AMD's holding up when this market pulls back. So AMD's like really the only one I'm kind of liking right now. Setting up on the tech side. Trying to wait and see, be patient here. If Apple can pull back, that would be great to be honest. I'm watching Q's here. Because if Q's gets up 612.80, can kind of expect AMD to be a little bit heavier. That's my only thing. You see AMD's trying to defend here, but I just don't like the context of the market. So I'm just trying to be patient and read this. And then we do have red photo news at 7 a.m. So it's definitely trying to defend. It's just the context right now. Trying to wait and see. I would love for this candle to close. Okay, so Q's just broke 612.80. So I hope this makes sense on why I'm not going long here. I love seeing buyers defend this for the context of the market. You got Q's breaking a key level. You got SPY breaking through the lower day. Buyers are definitely trying to defend this. So I would love for a candle to form up, like near this key level. We'll see. Everything's just very heavy right now. And be strong though. I'll give it that. It's definitely strong. I just don't like the context. I could just get a deeper pullback on AMD, sure, but if not, I might have to skip this. Yeah, just didn't like the context there. I didn't spot any divergence with this overall market pulling back, so just crappy timing. Hope that made sense. You saw what I was looking at. Apple wants to pull back by all means. Um, yeah, that was a beautiful retest. Just the overall market was pulling back. I'm not taking that. Yeah, that was a beautiful retest. If you caught that, kudos to you. That was a beautiful retest. Ripped right through the high day. That's exactly what we were looking for. Just crappy timing. I wasn't able to catch that. See what Apple does. Since it's 6:45, I pretty much only have 15 minutes until red photo news. So if SPY does break back over this 679.85, I have to skip that until red photo news fast. So I have to. Yeah, this one sucks. That was beautiful. If I can get a deeper pullback here on let's see. Yeah, our 679.85 is a beautiful level right now. It's definitely doing its job. AMD's gone. If you caught that, good trade. Beautiful trade on AMD if you caught that. The biggest RR trade. We knew what we were looking for. Just crappy timing, in my opinion. I guess I could play one strike since it's next week's. I'll need a retest here. And then I'm also looking at SPY. I'm sorry, Apple. I would love for SPY to break through the high day and then retest. Yeah, there we go. May not get this retest. Dang, bro. AMD was textbook. AMD was literally textbook. If you caught that, good trade. If you saw what I saw, it made sense on why I skipped that. There's literally no divergence on that. This might be a cash day. We'll see. I'm hoping Apple can, but eh. Wow, what a trade on AMD. Right off the like literally perfect break retest. We were patient. We didn't take the instant retest. We waited for more displacement. This thing pulls back. That's textbook. Looking for Apple, really. Yeah. Q's found some lower day support here, or really just bounced off our Q level 61280. Right, that was the pullback long entry we talked about during the pre-market. If you caught that, or coming into today, if you were looking for that. Yeah, beautiful trade on AMD. If you caught that, man, it's a great trade. Really trying to be patient for Apple. I kind of don't even want to. I can't really touch SPY now. I gotta get this time to work out. And remember, news invalidates technical analysis, so I don't want to be in a trade on the overall market when red folder news comes out. That's literally just gambling. So never got that retest here on SPY. I mean, AMD is just textbook, bro. Look at that retest on the dot. I had to skip that trade because the overall market was just pulling back heavy, SPY in the Qs, and AMD was as well. So I didn't spot any divergence to take that long opportunity. So no regrets there. No regrets there. I know if I get into to Apple down here, I'm gonna have to wait a bit. We got 9 minutes until red folder nave, so even if SPY gives me this retest, I can't really touch that. If you caught Qs on this pullback long, I mean, that was the game plan. That was literally the game plan. If you caught that, in 4 minutes, we got back to the top of the range. In 4 minutes. So that was right off the pre-market plan. Yeah. Solid day on these names so far. Yeah, I'm not gonna force anything though. I'm very comfortable having a cash day. Beautiful analysis here. This was a good payday if you caught that. I really don't see a reason you wouldn't have caught this trade unless you were looking at it how I was. I know some people actually don't look at this buy in the Qs when they trade because it causes like too much of a distraction. So to each their own, right? But if I get stopped out on that trade, I know my reason for getting stopped out because the overall market is buying the Qs. we're pulling back and we're heavy. I hope that makes sense. So yeah, we'll see what happens here on the SPY. There's been plenty of times where you would think like, oh, we won't get a retest, and then we end up doing it. So still need a retest here on the SPY. Yeah, right off the pre-market plan, right? We know we're looking for a pullback long off of 679. Just haven't gotten a retest. Look at that, rip right through. So we got about 5 minutes here until red footer news comes out. That's a big move on AMD. That is crazy. It's crazy. So 2 days in a row, right? Just 2 days in a row, breaking retest over 214 plays out. We know that's what we're looking for. Beautiful pullback long off of 612.80 on Qs. This is too an aggressive entry for me on Apple. There's no way I'm catching that. And then I just didn't like the context of the overall market when this play set up, so I had to skip that. Thing is, the way I'm looking at this, market's moved around. So if if Qs wants to stay strong and give me a break and retest over 617.20, I'm open to that too. And as we know, that's not even chasing. That's like right off the plan. So, if Qs wants to give us that, look at Qs. Qs looks really, really good. If it wants to give us that, I'm definitely open to taking that trade. Honestly, I would love a pullback here on the SPY. The bigger the swing high, the better. Right? Most traders get FOMO right here. I don't care to take a trade, right? Like if it sets up, it sets up. So I never feel eager to take a trade. We'll see what we got about 3 minutes till red footer news, so we'll see. So today, this week, starting off the week, now I'm starting to see that okay, we no longer have divergence between Qs and the SPY. Look at Qs. I'm sorry, look at SPY. Get a good look at that, then look at Qs. Identical. Literally identical. Same down close candle and everything. So this is good here on the SPY. We just didn't get the retest. We knew this was what we were looking for. So now it's just Qs. Qs like my only setup. If I don't get it, so be it. I never got a deep enough pullback here on Apple. I never got my retest here yet. Yet. I don't want to call it too soon. Market hasn't even been open for 30 minutes yet, to be fair. So we'll see. And then we already know what happened here. So because the thing is, I can't take a trade right now on Qs and SPY, even if it sets up. You never want to be in a trade on the overall market when red folder news comes out. You can take your chances on a tech name, but on the overall market, yeah, you're gambling. You are gambling. Trust me. I'm happy with the ones we put on our close watch list. Very happy with that. I should have checked Google and Amazon, but it doesn't matter. Beautiful here on Apple. I wish I got a deeper pullback. That's a very aggressive entry. Yeah, not too focused on Tesla. The thing is, SPY and Qs, it technically still is having an inside bar day. So this pullback you see here is, I'm assuming, us pushing up into the 617 here on the Qs. So Apple was beautiful. Yeah, not a deep enough pullback. I'm not touching that. Got about 1 minute here. Yeah, nothing on Tesla. I'm not even gonna try and mess with that. 30 seconds. I mean, hey, if this can stay strong, I do like this over 617.20. I really do. It's a good shot there. About 5 seconds. Let's see what happens. Apple is crazy strong, bro. This thing's damn near already doing a V-shaped recovery from the bottom of the range to the top of the range. It's crazy. So far, Q's has moved like roughly $4. So if I take a break and retest over 617.20, I don't feel like we're too extended. Once we like kind of surpass $7, we're definitely extended. So I'll just be a little bit more hesitant. So we'll see. Apple, man, that looks great. Yeah, the main watch here now is really Q's. If Q's wants to bless us with that, I like it. I highly doubt AMD is pulling all the way back down to the bottom of the range, but see what I mean with the Q's and SPY being in sync? Look at these. Pretty much identical. Down close candle at 648, down close candle at 648, double bottom at the same time. Uh, our 638 candle is the same as this 638 candle. And then look at the top of the range. They're pretty much in sync, identical. These are things that you got to pay attention to when you're looking to take trades on the spot and the Qs, or when you're trying to make a correlation of an individual stock name compared to the overall market. So AMD's prime example where the overall market's pulling back very heavy, and so is AMD. I'm not really spotting divergence. So of course, obviously, Q's ended up finding support at that 612.80, and then that's what caused AMD as well to correlate, with that lower day bounce on the Q's. Like I said, keep in mind, right? It is an inside bar day here. Like I said, I'm happy it swept the previous day's low liquidity, but you can see, right? It's a lot of thin volume up here. If we can get over 617, it does look good. So today, right off the pre-market plan, like if you caught the pullback longs off of Q's and you played AMD, kudos to you. Like you got two good solid shots. Obviously, I'm bullish bias on Apple, but I'm a risk manager before I'm a trader, so I got to get an entry that I feel comfortable with. Okay, our key level is being respected here on Amazon. Very strong open on Amazon, actually. Very strong open. Kind of just sitting around, so just chopping right now on Google. Some people will be like, okay, cool, this is an order block, right? And then I want to look for the top of this range. Then it's like, that's not a key inflection point in the market. So it's like, if you get stopped out here going long, it's a bad loss because your thesis is correct as long as you're over 679.85. You want to take entries where it is going to be proven that your thesis is incorrect. And that's only going to be at key levels. Because if I go long here on this quote unquote order block entry and I get stopped out, right, we can pull back to 679, retest, and then this thing goes in your favor. So it's like your thesis was right, but you didn't have a good entry. Mm. Let's see. 616. So yeah, so far Q's has moved. I went 616, just a flat number. It's moved $3.15. So we're not overextended here on the Qs. So that being said, I'm open to like go long here. If you watch my last educational video, I speak on the importance of knowing how much whatever stock you trade moves on average on the dollar amount. That really helps you determine take that trade or not. Because if we're overextended, you got to expect some consolidation or pullback eventually, right? Because the stock can just be exhausted. That's what it means. So we'll see here. We'll be patient. The only setup I like now at this point is 617.20. That's really it. Man, if you got this on AMD, you got paid. Let me tell you. AMD is like kind of back in play. I've been watching this thing about 4 days in a row now. This thing's been really good. Break and retest on Friday. We got the break and retest today. Beautiful. Right off our key level. Like literally textbook. Literally textbook. Like I said, I don't like the context, so that's why I skipped it. But super solid there. Yeah. Seems like today, I could be wrong, but it seems like today, Q's is actually what's moving the SPY. So Q's is in control today. Q's is definitely in control today. Let's see. Pretty strong open here on the video. Like I said, I'm sticking to my rules. I'm sticking to my guns here. As long as we're under 184.50, I'm hands off. You can see we're bullish bias. Very strong buyers in control today, which is crazy. Well, never mind, because Friday was a half day, but still, we've already moved more. Yeah, we've already taken out the entire day of Friday. So super solid here, very bullish here. Um, just a lot of built up liquidity. So I'm just waiting for this break and retest over 184.50. I'm letting my trade come to me. I'm looking at AMD. I doubt this thing will pull back, but it is a little heavy now. 678.5. Yeah, so very identical from the top of the range to the bottom of the range. Um, SPY's only moved, $3.14. So we're not extended. We're not overextended. On average, it moves about $3 to $7, $3 to $6 in a day. So really just watching cues here. And look at that. Cues can get over this. There's nothing in its way. If this sets up, I might play. Honestly, I might play weekly cons here. If this sets up, I'm definitely not playing zeros. Definitely not. We still kind of have a shot here on. I'll kind of just show you everything, give you a visual. So this hasn't broken structure, Apple. So still kind of have a shot here on this pullback. It hasn't broken structure yet. So that's something I'm noticing. Still looking for this. We see this happen all the time, and people think they missed a move. Good displacement, right? There's been plenty of trades. You've seen me post where we waited over an hour for our pullback, patient pace. So we're still waiting for that. And then this. That is solid here on the Qs. Let's see. Decent market open though, for sure. Decent market open. Looks good. Trying to teach you guys, how to be patient, take high probability shots. Don't let FOMO kick in, right? Like right now, if you felt like, oh man, I missed AMD, you got a lot to work on. I am detached. I only take the highest probability shots, and I follow my rules, right? This didn't check off my criteria. I didn't spot any divergence on this retest. I didn't. It was pulling back with the market very heavy. So like, there's no regrets there. I'm a risk manager before I'm a trader. Every day the market gives an opportunity, every single day. So just trying to teach you, like, you got to look at kind of everything, right? It can be, at first it can feel overwhelming, but once you start making the correlations and you get the screen time, it helps. And I noticed those, like, the same amount of people who typically watch these live trading sessions, like, they're getting their screen time. It helps a ton. It helps a ton. Like, when I first started, that's all I was doing. Like, I would watch tape, watch tape, watch tape, and I would just watch so much. You don't have to trade in order to learn. Like I said in one of my educational videos, mental reps. Don't underestimate the power of mental reps. Even though you're not in the market, you're not involved, you're not in a trade, you can still get mental reps. Just making the correlation of names compared to the market, spotting divergence to the overall market. You don't need to trade to like learn those things. So like, you see the correlation here between Qs and SPY, right? They're pretty much identical twins. So now when I say, all right, they're identical, you understand what I'm saying. But today, like all of last week, SPY was the one that was leading the market. SPY was the one that was actually leading the Qs. And today, right, it's different. Qs is the one taking the lead. Look at Qs, it pulls back to its key level on the dot. You get buyer step up, this thing pushes back to the top of the range. That's solid. AMD is pulling back more than kind of thought. I mean, this is more than a 50% retracement. So if this thing does pull all the way back out, I kind of don't really care. Take this. Well, maybe. Because if we fall under 214.85, I wouldn't short this anyway. Like if I want to short AMD, it'd be like under 209.25. I'm treating this as a no trade zone. Solid on Apple. This thing pulled back to 276.14. Got 277.80. That's solid. Starting to break structure right now. That's what you want to see. Slow grind on the pullback here on SPY, but that's fine. Beautiful on Apple. Bro, this thing basically went from, well, it did, like bottom of the range to the top of the range. It's crazy. Apple's really strong. Not a fan on, like, look at this. Right? Like, yeah, I don't necessarily like this, but this is the highest probability shot. If you watch my last live trading session, I said, of course, Apple gives us this setup on a Friday. Of course, like Apple always does that. So next, we'll really just be waiting for a big displacement candle on the daily here over 279, and then see the top of this range turn into support. Yeah, Apple's beautiful, man. I love seeing our key level here get respected. It's 179.45. Good recovery here, though. I mean, not surprised, right? We found support at a weekly level. There's a weekly level, 173 on AMD. I'm sorry, on the video. It's not a surprise there. So, but as long as this thing just keeps pushing higher, I'm okay with that. But you can see we just have a very hard time. Very hard time. And look at this on the 15. Like, does this look like a name that's moving higher or lower? We're just sitting in a channel. See what I mean? This is how we avoid low probability setups and we avoid losses. Like, yeah, it's respecting its key levels, but just look at it. It's just moving sideways. So you can see the divergence here, even on Qs and SPY a little bit now. See how SPY is a little bit heavier on the pullback, but Qs actually isn't. So, I mean, we got our pullback here on Apple. That was textbook. There's no way I caught this. That's too much risk for me. Being very patient here. Very patient, right? Very patient. And then you can see Qs is just kind of just doing this a little bit, right? Sitting in here. Give me one sec. Sitting in here. So I want to see that, do that. But I'm gonna need proper displacement over that. But this was textbook, right off the pre-market plan. You were looking for that. If you got in here, right, this is the best RR trade. You're risking this much to make this much. Apple, AMD. Just for the fun of it, let's see what Tesla's doing. Never got a retest here. Like I already drew this out. Like you can see, like I think I was on the daily. Did I do that on the daily? No, it was here. Like now we just have to be patient here on Tesla. I know I drew this out for the pre-market, but we saw all this, the pullback, consolidation. Now we're doing that. See what I mean? So it's starting to become a V-shaped recovery. We just got to be very patient. So these two is like now I'm intrigued once we get over these. Why? Because we're kind of just we'll be outside of the death smack of this, and then it's just a better R on trade. And of course, this is the A plus shot. But look at the price action here. Like the past 3-4 days on Tesla, just can't be surprised. Look at the price action today. Like not that good. Look at Friday, terrible, right? So if you're confused on why, just remember we're back in a channel on the daily. Definitely a misprint here. Some people feel like they missed a trade or something, and then they're hesitant to take this pullback. But I know this is the highest probability shot. I just got to see strong buyers step up. Deeper the pullback, the better. Like I said, this could just be, Q's kind of rejecting up here at the top of this range. Apple's trending. See, my stop loss would be under really the bottom of this range. So that's why I wait for the deepest pullback here because I'm already giving this room to breathe. Look at the divergence on Apple compared to the overall market. I don't get this on test on SPY, that's fine. The safest trade here is just the deepest pullback because then I just know if I'm incorrect. It's pretty much on highest probability shot there. Buyers are trying to defend. Whatever's going to happen is going to happen. Took my shot. I like to trade. Very tight loss. Very tight loss. 200 on the day. See how my wins always outweigh my losses? I gotta take that shot. We actually just might hold here. I'm curious. Yeah, I probably just got squeezed. Yeah, I should still be in this, to be honest. We'll see. Like this is a trade that's like uncomfortable for most. Like you gotta take that shot. Let's see. It's definitely trying to defend this. It's definitely trying to defend. Oh, reason my stop loss was that small because I didn't play zeros, by the way. I see like this bull flag setting up here. So 237. All right, I saw a strong buyer step in. I took that. AMD was a solid shot for sure. This may play out. This honestly may play out. You can see we're actually holding. I don't hold on to trades and hope. No, no, no. There's no such thing as hope in the market. This thing's actually trying to hold. Definitely trying to hold. I think Q is just a little too heavy. Yeah, solid trade. I would take that again. Kind of got to see here. Like technically, it really hasn't given this level up yet. You can see maybe Q is trying to find some intraday support, but we'll see. We shall see. You guys know me, big on one and done. All right, that was a good loss then. Good stop loss. I'm happy with that. 8 times out of 10, that works. My job is not to be right. or wrong. My job is to take my setups every time they occur, right? I risk that much to make that much. That's how you got to start thinking about it. We're bullish buyers. Look for the pullback longs. That was $1,200. That was nothing, right? That's pretty much a break-even day for me. So hope that makes sense there. I promise once you flip your mindset to like risk to reward instead of focusing on trying to win trades, you will start winning a lot of trades. I'm solid with that though, right? Plan my trade my plan. Good breakout, good displacement, push back to the top of the range. I waited for that. I entered on this candle here. This green one, strong buyer stepped up. I'm taking that every single time. Every single time. I wouldn't be surprised if we bounce here if Q's find support like at 612.80. Some lower day. We'll see. Ugh. Very tight stop. It's about what was it? Yeah, $1,200. That's perfect. That was actually under 10%. Let me go to TradeTeller. Give me one sec. Give me one sec. Yeah, you can just see, Q's and SPY's in sync. Yeah, maybe I got squeezed out. We'll see. Hmm. No, okay, cool. Give me one sec. I'm trying to. Thing is, I'm looking at like Q's is trying to bounce here. I mean, you can see SPY's a little heavier, even though we're holding. Like SPY actually pulled all the way back down to the lower day here. Pretty much found some support. SPY's a little bit weaker than the Q's, just a little bit. If this can reclaim with momentum, though, try to read this. Very tight stop here. Okay, that was much like a scalp because I entered that with a 0. I don't like that Q's is pushing into that. All right, pretty much a break even day. I like the reclaim there with momentum, so I took my I'm gonna play scalp. So pretty much gonna call it here. It was a decent trade. Give me one sec. Let's see. Those moved pretty well. Yeah, break even day for me. That second trade was a good scalp. That was like a quick 6%. And then, of course, I scaled down on that. And then my first trade on SPY was roughly a 7% loss. So break even, 420 day. That's super solid. I'll play my trade, trade my plan. This would have been very nice if we got some continuation here. I kind of just like that, Q's was starting to push. You can see we're holding. We're definitely holding. We're bullish bias, right? I just don't want to sit in that on a zero. See, we're definitely holding. Hmm. Let's see. I think I am going to call it here. I'm just trying to see something. Yeah, our first shot, we did good, really trying to hold. We sat in that trade for roughly 6 minutes on our first trade on SPY. NVIDIA. This is good. I want to see NVIDIA do this. Like, hopefully we can close like right under 184.50 and then just get a break and retest over that tomorrow. AMD, it had its moves, just starting to chop. Just starting to chop. Not a surprise there. And then Tesla, see what I mean? Like, you can't even, like, this is prime example on why we stay away from channels and zones. Because like now Tesla's well, it's just sitting sideways, right? If it's gonna sit sideways on the daily and the weekly, we can't be surprised it's sitting sideways on the intraday. Hope that makes sense. And then Apple was solid. We just didn't get a deep enough pullback, like candle closure. Like, there's no way I'm entering on that wick. So solid here. I mean, this thing may reclaim and move higher. If so, pretty much just got squeezed. Pretty much. We can see that pretty much pulled back down to the lower day and held. Got this nice flag setting up here on the intraday. So yeah, the only two trades that I really like today that setup was obviously AMD. I skipped that. And then the pullback long off of 612.80 on Qs. Super solid. So remember, I just told you guys, how we play the retest. So when we pulled back, buyers did step up here and push this thing. They tried to defend it. We didn't rip under it. So I got in this on the reclaim when I saw momentum kick in. Took my shot. Got out of that pretty quick though. Like I said, it was a scout. Kind of went to look for some continuation there. Never got it. Like I was seeing like, okay, cool, little bull flag if this thing can push, but Q's is really controlling everything right now. But once again, loss on the day. Pretty much a break-even day. Yeah, $400. So solid day. Hope you guys were able to learn something. Hope me skipping that trade on AMD makes sense. Hope that makes sense. All right, why didn't I take it? If you just look at it and sync with the overall market, it should make sense to you. And then of course, I mean, that was just a crazy, like, buyers just stepped up out of nowhere on that name. So good shot there if you took that. But yeah, I'm gonna call it here. Let's see. Yeah, definitely got squeezed out because then I wouldn't be surprised if like right that happens and then we reclaim this and then what does that do? Feel that move higher. Let me look at this on the 15 really quick. One sec. I mean, yeah, you can see these wicks here. Buyers are definitely in control. And then right now we're getting a 15-minute candle form above our Q level. It's kind of what you want to see. So we shall see. But yeah, I will see you guys on the next one. Uh, I'll definitely have that pre-market I'm sorry, the pre-market game plan for tomorrow out maybe an hour or two after today's session, just so you can have that to go into tomorrow. Appreciate the love, support. I'll see you guys on the next one.